Studio Gainax. Beyond being arguably the most influential anime studio ever this side of Ghibli, they also just so happen to be one of my personal favorites. I have watched at least a little bit of every single Gainax show, barring sequels to anything except Eva and Gunbuster, and there's a link in the description to a My Anime list stack I created, which includes my rankings for every show I watched at least a full episode of. Speaking of Eva, Neon Genesis and End of Eva will both be counted in one entry. Without any further discretion, here are my honorable mentions. Gunbuster and Diebuster get mentions for being beautifully crafted sci-fi stories with incredible protagonists, with the former having one of the greatest endings in anime history. Oruchuban Ibichu gets a mention for being one of the most hilariously twisted and raunchy anime of all time, and also for having an adorable little hamster voiced by Misato. Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt gets a mention for being an uproarious, unhinged, and unpredictable piece of toilet humor art house that captures the spirit of anarchy better than any other anime I've seen. See my standalone analysis on that show for more. And lastly, the Daikon opening animations get mentions for being fantastically made, ridiculously enjoyable, and endlessly iconic tributes to otaku culture, Daikon 4 being maybe the most epic of all time and would take the number 5 spot on my list if I were counting each short as their own show. On to the list. Number 5. Otaku No Video. Otaku No Video holds an extremely important place in anime history as it ostensibly sprung about the widespread popularization of using otaku as a term of endearment amongst Japanese nerd hobbyists, and it achieved that through creating a vivid, exciting, extremely enjoyable time capsule of otaku culture at the time. One of the most impressive things about Otaku No Video is how it manages to stay completely self-aware while also being fully sincere. Even though the series pokes fun at otaku culture quite a bit, it clearly has a massive love for it, in a way that makes it clear this could only be made by a group of people who are otaku themselves. Beyond this, the show has a ludicrously memorable, delightful, and lovable cast of characters written with boatloads of hilarity and heart. All of this without even mentioning the hilarious live-action mockumentary skit segment, Portrait of an Otaku, which adds an even greater level of depth and hilarity to the show's portrayal of early 90s otakudom. The series also just looks incredible, with Takeshi Mori doing an extremely impressive job pulling all of its disparate styles into one cohesive whole. Unquestionably one of the most essential anime of the 90s. Number 4. Guren Lagann. If I were to create a list of 5 shows to explain the appeal of anime to someone who had never seen anything from the medium before, Guren Lagann would most definitely be on it. It's a sprawling, explosive, kinetic, thought-provoking, achingly sincere, visually stunning series with one of the best casts of characters I've ever seen in anything. Similarly to Kill la Kill, much of Guren Lagann's narrative strength lies in its allegories, most notably about evolution. See Best Guy Ever's epic and definitive analysis on the series for more elaboration on that. However, it does so in a way in which the series can still be greatly enjoyed without looking at any of that, as even without any allegory, it still tells the hero's journey story better than maybe any other narrative in history, and it's still just the most unbelievably entertaining thing to watch. I binged Guren Lagann in a weekend, and it was the most hype I've ever been while watching anything, second to Kill la Kill. I won't compare these two shows as they're both going for completely separate things, but I will say that they are both must-see classics and nearly tied as my favorite show by my favorite anime director. Number 3. Fooly Coolie. Fooly Coolie is one of very few anime I can think of where I genuinely think you could do an incredibly in-depth breakdown of every single shot without once stretching in your analysis. Fortunately, director Kazuya Tsurumaki already did it for you on his DVD commentary of the series. It's inconceivably jam-packed with meaning, a wellspring of depth that is impossible to truly get to the heart of in a quick and efficient manner. But as I am a poor, misguided fool in all facets of life, I'm going to attempt to do so anyways. A lot of people describe Fooly Coolie as a coming-of-age story, and yeah, it sort of is, but I think that's kind of a narrow description. If I were to boil the ethos of Fooly Coolie into one sentence, I consider it a big celebration of humanity. Tsurumaki packed Fooly Coolie with everything he loves about human ingenuity, human creativity, even little things like his admiration for left-handed people. It's a massive tribute to humanity in all its weird, funny, fascinating quirks. I've long referred to Spirited Away as Miyazaki's Fooly Coolie, but maybe it's more like Fooly Coolie is Tsurumaki's My Neighbor Totoro. Either way, I struggle to think of many shows that are as brimming with love and creativity as Fooly Coolie, and the fact that it's not number 1 on this list is a true testament to how utterly monstrous Gainax's catalog is. Number 2. Neon Genesis Evangelion. Talking about Neon Genesis Evangelion in this video is a tricky thing, as discussing it in brief without repeating a million things a million people have already said is nigh impossible. Even my own personal experience with Eva is damn near identical to the one which Trixie the Golden Witch has espoused in her old-ass anime cast on the series. But I really do adore the series, and I really want to spend just 100 or so words gushing about it, so I'll try to keep it short and not directly copy anyone else's thoughts on the show. If you want to read some great analysis of the series, I'd highly recommend Trixie's episodic breakdown of the show's first half, as well as Ghost Lightning's post Neon Genesis Evangelion Revisited Better Than I Remember, both of which will be linked in the description. In short, Neon Genesis Evangelion is a series about the struggles of communication, both in Shinji's failure to communicate his feelings to others and their failures in communicating their feelings to him. Obviously, this extends to all the other characters as well, seeing as this show has far and away the greatest cast of characters in anime history. Asuka, Shinji, and Misato are by far my personal favorites, but I struggle to think of a character in the main cast that I wouldn't say is one of the greatest characters in the history of storytelling as a whole. Moreover, the show is perilously well directed, the music is amazing, the voice acting is legendary, and the impact it had on the history of TV anime could not possibly be overstated if you tried. That was about 150 words. God damn it. Number 1. His and Her Circumstances. Karekano is an explosion of love. Final 8 episodes notwithstanding, it is not only my favorite Gainax anime, but I'm genuinely bordering on considering it my outright favorite anime of all time. It's a series about traumas, personas, stereotypes, expectations, but most of all, emotions. Karekano is bursting at the seams with emotion, not just in its masterful writing, but in its thoroughly unparalleled directing. Every frame is overflowing with more thought and love than most great shows have in an entire episode. I could go on forever about how incredible this show is, but I'll save that for another day. For now, I desperately implore you to watch it, keeping in mind that the final 8 episodes are a bit disappointing, though I believe episode 18 works great as a finale in itself. Unfortunately, it's difficult to obtain the sub via legal digital means, but you can find an official upload of the dub right here on YouTube totally for free. And let's be honest, if you're going out of your way to watch the sub, you probably know what websites to go to. Anyways, that's all I've got. This was my first time trying one of these top list type videos, so I'd very much appreciate any and all feedback you'd like to leave in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, check out my other videos, and if you like those ones too, consider subscribing to the channel. I also have a second channel, a big playlist with every video I've ever made, and a brand new Patreon, which you can find linked in the description. It already has a few pieces of exclusive content, and I would be unimaginably grateful for any amount of money you'd like to donate. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next week.